Hi everybody, so in this video I'm going to be going through the Hydroponics Lesson 4 PowerPoint using crop calendars to collect data on your garden and the foods that you're growing. I'm also going to be going through how to create a crop calendar so that you can complete this assignment yourself. So just to review, part of why we create a crop calendar and part of how we create a crop calendar is by considering the parts of plants' life cycles and figuring out when a certain plant is going to reach the different stages of its life cycle. So, first thing we're going to review here is this. On your slides, it says type answers here. So you're going to go ahead and just type these different plant life cycle stages into your version of the PowerPoint. Obviously, we know that plants start as seeds, and then once we put those seeds into a wet, dark medium, soil, or the Q, I believe that's called, they're called Q blocks that you're going to use for your home hydroponics kit, then those seeds will germinate, meaning that they will send roots down and they will send a shoot up out of the ground. Those seeds become seedlings as they are growing. They start with small leaves called cotyledon that don't become any true leaves. So they need to be in the seedling stage until they have created true leaves and they have roots sticking out through the bottom of the cubes that you're going to put them in. Then you can transfer them into your hydroponics kit where they will continue to grow and become a mature plant. Once that plant has matured, it will start the flowering and pollination process. It will develop flowers. Something like basil will do what's called bolting, where it'll send a shoot up with flowers on it, and it'll kind of create, it'll make the rest of the leaves on the plant harder and more bitter so that it can focus on creating flowers. And then lastly, you will harvest either the fruit of the plant, or you can harvest the seeds, stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to be considering this life cycle of our plant while we're making our crop calendars. Okay, and this slide just kind of goes through that again, and you can read this on your own. On this slide, you're going to be sorting through the different definitions that, excuse me, that you see on the right. So I'm going to show you how to do what you're going to do. You're going to click and drag the labels over here. They should be in a line on your copy of the PowerPoint over into the correct slot based on where the arrows go. So I'm going to move my instructions over here so you can see a little better. The flowers are obviously this here. This is a tomato plant. That's what tomato flowers look like. So flowers are the reproductive organs of the plant, and the sex cells of the plant mix through pollination. The fruit here in this example is a tomato. It is the fleshy and edible part of the plant, and it protects the seeds so they can be put somewhere else. The leaves are where photosynthesis and gas exchange happen, so that the plant can create food for itself. The stem transports water and nutrients to give the plant its structure. The seeds, which are found inside of the fruit, as you see here, hold the genetic information for the plant, which allows them to create new plants. They can be moved by wind, water, animals, or expulsion. And the roots, the last but not least, is the roots, which absorb water from the soil to keep the plant stable in the ground. Okay, so you're just going to go ahead and sort those boxes into the correct spot next to the arrows. Okay. What is a crop calendar is the question, and that's what you're going to answer here. Why would it be important for farmers and farm scientists to anticipate when plant life cycle events are going to occur? A big thing when you're growing plants, especially for food or for money, if it's your means of getting money for your family, is that you don't want any dead time in your garden. You don't want there to be times when you don't have any plants ready to be put into the ground. So you need to know how long it's going to take for your seeds to germinate, how long it's going to take for those seeds to be ready to go into your garden, how long it's going to take before a plant has reached maturity and is fully harvested and you have a new space available for new plants to go. So farmers and farm scientists need to plan this out through the whole year. They need to know how early before spring they should start planting seeds indoors to get them ready. So you can always be getting seedlings ready before you put them into the ground. So they need to know the life cycle so that they can plan their whole year so that they never have any dead time in their garden where they're not growing food. This is kind of what a crop calendar looks like, more of an in-specific crop calendar. And they look different for different places on Earth, based on the different zones that you live in. Zones tell you how long your growing season is throughout the year. So in this example, the growing season is this darker green section in the middle from April to the end of October. So it's telling you that, something like kale, onions, Brussels sprouts, stuff like that, you're not going to put them directly in the ground. The yellow part of the bar tells you that you're going to start your seedlings indoors so that you are ready to put them in the ground when the frost breaks, when there's no more frost hitting the ground and the soil is getting a little bit warmer. The darker yellow, or I guess that's the orange, the yellow here tells you when it's okay to transplant them outside, and then the green is going to tell you when you should be harvesting it. Okay, so we're going to compare these two crop calendars. And I want you to make some inferences about where these crop calendars are from. What do you notice about the growing season for the first compared to the second? You should notice that the growing season for the first calendar is very long. It's pretty much the whole year except for the very dead of winter, like 1 month in the middle of winter. But you should also notice that in this area, you can't really grow anything from May to the end of July, right? Why might that be? What is happening that time of year that would make it so most of these, especially your leafy greens, can't be grown outside? And think to yourself, where might this be from? What part of the United States has weather like this, where it's warm enough to grow food outside all year long, but it's actually too warm to grow food outside during the summertime? Okay. Think south, think west, think about where we get our food from year round, right? And then the other calendar probably should look more similar to what you experience, because this is something more from the Northeast, right? It doesn't get terribly hot in the summer, though you don't want to be growing your lettuce and your kale outside in July because it is just too hot. But our growing season is a lot shorter, from the end of April to the end of October. As soon as it starts to get cold at night and starts to maybe hit the 30s at night, you can't grow stuff outside anymore. Okay, so go ahead and predict where you think these are from and what you think the green shaded area indicates. Now, these are the seeds that you are going to be planting. This is what's in your home hydroponics kit, which should hopefully be coming to you early next week. We're going to be planting calendula, which is a flower, green basil, Swiss chard, kale, and pole beans. Okay, and these all have different growing times and they have different growing seasons. What we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at the back of seed packets. Now, this is a bit of a strange one here in this example. And we're looking at what pieces of information do you think will be most important for making a crop calendar for your home hydroponics kit. We're going to, instead of looking at that one, look at this one. Now, this is for Monday's Due Now. But if you look at the seed packet for dill, which is an herb, you'll see some important information. They're telling you how many days it takes for this plant to germinate, how long it's going to have to sit in your seedling tray. They're also telling you how many days until it's mature enough for you to harvest it. So those are the important pieces of information that you're going to need for your crop calendar, because you're growing it inside. If you were going to be growing it outside and in the soil, knowing how far apart to sow them, like how much space they need away from each other, and also looking at the zone map that you see at the bottom would be important. But since you're growing them inside, it doesn't really matter. So what information, going back to the page before, what information will be most important for making your crop calendar is germination times and time to full maturity or harvest, right? So that you can kind of prepare to have new things ready to go into your garden. I'm not going to read through these. This is the information from the seed packets for the seeds that you're going to be looking at. So this is the information that you're going to be pulling from to complete your home hydroponics crop calendar that I'm going to show you in a second. So you can read through these yourself. These are for the different things. You could also go to this website, Johnny Seeds, where you can just search in the search function for the name of your seeds, and it'll pull up more detailed information about them. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to make our own crop calendars, and I'm going to switch over to that page now. You should all have a copy of this Excel sheet, this I think it's Google Sheets, for your crop calendar. We are going to use the start date of 12/14. That's what I'm guessing that most of you will have your hydroponics kit and can get your seeds started. The point of making this calendar is that we are going to predict when our seeds, when our plants are going to get to different stages. And then we're going to see, is that true? Did it get where I thought it was going to get? Or are they moving a little bit faster because we're doing something other than just putting them in the soil? Okay, so for calendula, you can say it either way. Like I said, we're going to put 12/14 down for all of them as our start date. How many days does it take to get to germination? So we're going to go back to our PowerPoint. We're going to go to the calendula section, and it says it takes 7 to 14 days to get to germination. So you're not just going to take 7 to 14 days. You're going to make a guess, and we're going to estimate that it'll take 11, kind of the middle of that range, 11 days for the seeds to start. So you're going to write the date that is 11 days after 12/14, which would be Christmas Day. Look at that. So you can guess that by Christmas, your seeds will have germinated if you start them on that date. So you can write 11 days, which would be Christmas Day. Okay? And then you're going to figure out how many days until I can transplant it into the ground after it has germinated. Because we're not going to, as soon as a little sprout comes up, we're not going to shove it right into our hydroponics kit. We need to let it grow some true leaves. If we go back over here, it doesn't say any information about that. So we're going to use the information that it says here, transplant date. If no information available, put 2 weeks after your date of germination. So what is 2 weeks after Christmas Day? Right, that's what you're going to put there. It's January. I'm going to look at my calendar really quick. January 10th-ish, something like that. Do the math. And then your harvest date, that's where you need to take a look at your thing. So it says maturity and harvest is going to take 8 weeks for your calendula. So we're going to put 8, we're going to say how long it's going to take, 8 weeks. And then we're going to figure out what is 8 weeks from January 10th. That's 2 months, right? So we're going to say we're going to be able to harvest these by about March. Okay? And then when we finally get our seeds, that's when we're going to fill in the rest of it. We're going to guess that we will have them as seeds by the 3rd week of December. and we're going to highlight that red or fill it in red to indicate that our plants are in the seedling stage, and we're going to keep track of this as we go on. Okay? If you have any questions about this, please let me know in the comments or come to class so that I can help you out. All right?